6 days without power is literally a killer. Are you ready? Over the past decade, I've had family members and very good friends be subject to some natural disasters. And I really want to talk to you about your preparedness as it relates to security and the security of your home, security of your family, security of your kids. And a lot of times we think we're secure, right? We think we're ready for things, but we haven't thought about the what ifs. We haven't been through the what ifs. The best thing we can do a lot of times is turn to somebody who has. And so I'll tell you a couple of quick stories, and I'm going to address a huge, we think we're prepared with security systems or with security, but a lot of times we just aren't. And so one of the first stories is a friend of mine lives in Long Island, New York. And she and her family were subject to the hurricane a couple of years ago that came and just devastated Long Island. Now, especially those right on the coast. She's right off the coast. They were literally without power for 6 days. And I was finally able to get a hold of them, make sure they were okay, make sure that they had what they needed. And she said the only thing that helped sustain them was the fact that they had gas, and the gas continued to work. And so as we think about preparedness, there's a lot of things we just like, not that Americans are in oblivion, but we've had it so good when we think about rolling power outages in California. We think about rolling power outages in Texas. We think about grid down in Texas because it had an unusually cold winter. There's a lot of things that people are not prepared for or haven't thought about. My sister was in Hurricane Michael down in Florida back in 2018. After a couple of days of the hurricane, a couple of days after the hurricane hit, still couldn't get a hold of her, couldn't get a hold of anyone. I packed up gas, I packed up water, packed up chainsaws, and didn't have anybody go with me. Put them in a trailer, put them behind my Suburban, went down to Florida, and just tried to help. Found my sister, she was okay. But they were without power in a lot of those areas in Florida for months. Like, power was gone. People's homes were devastated. And this is what people don't think about, right? Like, if you're a good person, you're a morally okay, at least, okay? If you're a morally good person, you don't think about the way criminals, thieves, and crooks think. They're opportunists. And so we saw this happen in Northwest Florida. We saw this happen in Tampa. We saw this happen in Houston. We certainly saw this happen during Katrina. We saw looting. We saw people going out and even acting like, before things got where you couldn't say that, people acting like they were law enforcement or acting like they were EMS people and breaking into people's homes, looting, stealing. I talked with a guy that came into our business to get his fingerprints done maybe 3 weeks ago, something like that. He worked during Katrina. He was EMS, and he literally said that he was having to go into houses and rooftops, pull people who passed away out. He was pulling them through the water over to light poles, tagging them, and then tying them to light poles. That's before they could identify the bodies. He was putting dates and things on them. Like, people, it can get really bad. And I'm not here to focus on the bad. What I want to focus on is just today, because it's too large of a topic. And by the way, I'm starting to post some free documents on our website. Right now, if you just go to the website and you type in truth, you'll find out some information about school shootings. We have compiled over the past 8 years. I'm a prepper to some degree. Like, I don't have a bunker yet. Maybe I'm going to have a bunker. I don't know the way the world's going. But I'm a prepper to some degree in the fact that we have made some preparations if we're without for 6 months. I know some friends who have things they've been without for 10 years. But a lot of times we don't think about the security of our home and family, especially if we are a single family unit and there is not a lot of community for you to turn to, or you don't know your community real well, which in a lot of suburbia America, that's the truth. And so when the power goes out, your security system is going to run for a short period of time. I am going to have to continue this video in another series about how crooks get in, but typically, if you have a security system that's come out within the last, let's say, 5 to 7 years, and it's not a hardwired system, it's a wireless system, your system is typically going to run between 12 and 24 hours before it no longer functions. And then it's going to have basic functionality. And I'm going to tell you how to overcome this in just a minute. But let me tell you what basic functionality is. So if your internet is up and your system is still powered, then it will be able to talk over the internet. If the cell towers are up and yours talks over the cell tower, then it will still work. If it's one or the other, cell tower's down when it talks over the cell tower, your system's not going to communicate with the monitoring station. And it may not communicate with you even locally, right? If it goes over the internet, same thing. If the internet's down, it's not going to work. The best type of system is not a system that has failover. It's like, oh, if the internet's down, it's going to work over the cellular. A system that has a failover will have a period of time where it waits, it looks for another path out, and then it calls. You want a dual path system where both systems call out at the same time. Here's what else you want. You want it to run a minimum of 24 hours on its own. You want a good lithium-ion battery system that goes into a power save mode when the power goes out. At least you got 24 hours of protection, right? But look, we saw weeks in Katrina. We saw 6 days up in Long Island. My sister down in Florida was out of power for weeks. I mean, they were devastated. I could only stay down in 3 days, cut as many people out of their homes and driveways as I could in 3 days. But the truth of the matter is, power outages can be extended. So I'm not going to address all the other things we need to at some point about prepping. I will start posting things on our site for free because I think people need to know. Like we have the basic necessities of medication, the basic necessities that you just have to have. But power is one of those things that's very tricky because it's expensive. If you get solar for an entire home, it's very, very expensive. But here's the issue when a security system goes out and you don't have any type of a failover for that, and especially if you don't have a large community of people who are going to get together and help you, then somebody comes and knocks on your door at 2 o'clock in the morning. They're seeing if somebody, the lights are out, right? Nobody's there. They're seeing if somebody's home. Somebody's going to answer. Your security system needs to be able to alert you and let you know, even with the power out, that somebody's at the door. The average, the Vivint, the ADT, the Monotronics, the Brinks, the systems they've had for years, they don't tell you that. They just want you to have a sense of being safe. They want you to think that the system is going to work for you even when the power's out. And the truth of the matter is it's not. Once the power is down, your system is done. The panel will no longer function. Nothing will alert you. So what we have done is we have sourced what will keep a security system, our security system. You can use it for yours too, but it will keep a security system, particularly a wireless system, running indefinitely. Now listen, if you get a solar panel and you plug it into something, the same one that you use to charge your phones or to charge your tablets, or if you go on vacation or you go camping, those types of things, those will not work. In order for a true solar system to work, you have to have the panel and inverter, and then you have to have a battery, and it charges the battery, and then things run off the battery, right? So low-powered options run off the battery. Let me say that again. You have to have a panel, you have to have an inverter, and then you have to have a battery, and the panel charges the battery. A solar panel alone by itself, if people think, oh, we're just going to use these if the power goes out, it won't work. There is an engineered way that solar works. And so what we've done is I went to an engineer friend of mine who builds all of the solar systems around the state of Tennessee for the road signs. You know, power goes out, road signs still work, they're solar power generated. A lot of people don't realize that. But he engineers those. He engineered a system for us that we can couple with a security system. So when the power goes out, you'll still get a notification that somebody's at your door. You'll still know if somebody opened the door. It will still be able to communicate with the cell towers. The cell towers are still up. Now in Lahaina right now, apparently there was limited cell coverage. People are still without power in Lahaina apparently, and that was 2 weeks ago. So we're watching a lot of things happen that quite honestly should wake you up and make you think, hey, we could really have a power outage, especially if you're in California or you're on the coastal areas of, right now there's a hurricane bearing down on Florida, and it's looking like it could go from Florida over to Mississippi, over to Louisiana. I mean, there's a couple places it could hit. So I want you to think about what you really have prepared for a long-term extended power outage. If it hits you and if it affects you, it could be life-threatening. And you don't want to be caught with your pants down, so to speak. Look, please like and subscribe. I'm trying to do this again for you. Like, I'm getting ready to go into our gun shop. I'm going to be there today, and I've also got like quite a few security customers I need to talk with today. We're still a small family-owned business, 20 years. That says something, right? 20 years. Do us a favor, like and subscribe. Trying my best to bring you good content in the limited time that I have. And I don't want you to get, this is corny, right? I want you to get knocked out by a storm. I want you to be able to be okay and your family to be okay. Please, if you will, it helps the channel, helps analytics. Please like and subscribe. Ask a question. We're full of great useless information.